Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're new to my channel and that you've come onto my channel for whatever reason it may be, I hope that you'll find something of use and value to you right now. I'm AspieAnswersAll. I talk about mental health and awareness, and basically also talking about majority of the time my Aspergers syndrome journey, along with many other diagnoses, as well as also being an advocate mental for others that hasn't got a voice. And also sharing just, everyday topics that I feel close to my heart on those days when I switch it up a bit with the Beauty from Ashes channel. So no further ado, guys, basically at this point in time I'm talking about basically my journey with Autism Spectrum Disorder of Aspergers syndrome, and at this current time I've been talking about, just maybe a food for thought about what I eat and what I don't eat, so to speak, briefly just before. And right now I'm going to be talking about basically, about something I've just done research on, about research suggests that good nutrition may manage symptoms, research claims. Basically, I'm going to just go overview before I begin into the main part where I want to address it, is basically based on, Aspergers syndrome and food, dietary requirements or what have you. But if you have been following, as you know by now, that basically there has been decades ago like a group of developmental disabilities in which patients have significant social, communication and behavioural difficulties was considered rare, and prognosis of those who had it usually wasn't good, which was basically the group of the Autism Spectrum Disorder groups that people on that on that scale were diagnosed with. As we know now that basically many individuals are committed to institution for the rest of their lives, many of them, because of their inability to function in everyday life in society, basically how we go about, communicating, socializing with you all. But times have changed though. However, the prevalence of ASD or Autism Spectrum Disorder, however, among adults and children have skyrocketed over the last few decades, or several years shall we say. Much more research on the etiology of the disorder and the different ways to treat and manage it has become readily available for us than ever before, when it wasn't, known how to, treat and manage this. Even though, like I said in one of the videos, that there has been recent debates that we can cure Aspergers syndrome, autism and the like, but it's all about managing it in a right way, of course, like many other, health conditions that comes along with it, as well as many other, mental illnesses / disorders that comes along as well. It's not just the mental disorders, but the physical disorders that we go through every day in life. But anywho, the prevalence of ASD among adults and children, like I said, and then obviously this continuing professional education basically that I'm giving you all hopefully will define what ASD is, the prevalence of it, and the possible causes on the latest research I have gathered, along with many other research, just what the clinicians and all these dietitians have done. And then obviously they'll be evaluating the critical role of good nutrition may play in helping individuals function optimally, of the ones with ASD. Obviously today, in this day and age, though, dietitians will learn about the various nutrition therapies available and should be able to apply this in practice. So, defining autism as we continue on. Okay, as I said in my status, if you read about it, autism comes from the Greek word autos, meaning self. Okay, it's been used for about 100 years to describe a condition which people can't engage in social interaction. Hearsay, like I'm saying, with us people with Aspergers syndrome. Okay, originally I was thought to be associated with schizophrenia, however, which is a fascinating fact that I realised. In 1943, Leo Kanner, MD, known as the father of child psychiatry, for his pioneering work related to autism, first identified disorder at the Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. Also in the early 1940s, German scientist and pediatrician Hans Asperger, as I cliched before, basically identifies patients with similarly withdrawn behaviour, now known as Asperger's syndrome. Okay, as we know though, today, autism is better defined by autism, or shall we say, defined better by the term of Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD, which describes a grouping of various developmental disabilities or disorders, as I like to try and put it out there. Symptoms of ASD will vary from time to time, but will usually begin before the age of 3 and will continue throughout a person's life. In some infants, however, there are early signs of the disorder, such as not wanting to cuddle, lack of eye contact, or abnormal responses to touching and affection. Other early signs may include the inability to follow objects visually, not responding to his or her name while being called, and the lack of facial expressions, or, just like I said before, based on the body languages, such as smiling. Some children with ASD develop normally until the age of 1 or 2. They may stop learning new skills or lose the ones they already have pre-learned when they were younger. There are 3 main classifications of ASD, however, and understanding the differences among these will help better focus treatments and therapies that are available for us, as well as just treatments that in therapies that can be used in the way of managing this in a way. Okay, the first classification of ASD I'm going to discover here is autistic disorder, which is considered the classic form of autism. Patients usually have significant delays in language, social skills, and the ability to communicate. Some have unusual behaviours and interests and may have measurable intellectual disability. The second form of autism is Aspergers syndrome, as I said. This is usually a milder form of autism, however. Patients still have delays in social abilities, or social interaction, shall we say, and communication skills, and have unusual behaviours and interests. Excuse me. Many individuals have a specific interest and encompasses much of their time and thought. People with Aspergers may spend most of their time devoted to a hobby that they enjoy. Examples like trains, computers, planes, you name it. They usually don't have issues with language skills or intellectual development. In fact, they are intelligent people, especially when it comes to their own special interests. Some experts, like patients with Aspergers to little professors in their areas of interest, they can have near genius IQs. Last but not least of this autism spectrum disorder is pervasive development disorder, which not otherwise specified, or atypical autism, which basically one of the ones that was trying to clinically diagnose me thought that this could be the case with me as well, along with Aspergers syndrome. These individuals meet only some of the criteria for classic autism or Aspergers. They have fewer mild symptoms and experience delays only in the areas of social skills and communication. Okay, now let's get back into what I wanted to hopefully bring out about the, Aspergers syndrome and food, what we need to do. But let's be clear how this part here, link between ASD and environmental toxins. There has been no specific environmental toxins that has been identified that may be the cause of autism, however, like many other clinical, arguments of what causes autism, be it, the certain vaccines that's been given to us that has caused us autism in many years. But research to determine which chemicals may be culpable is underway. It's been proven that a fetus is vulnerable to environmental chemicals during development. Examples of chemicals that in the past have been shown to harm fetal development include organosulfate synthesis, which is, like example, chlorophyrus, mercury exposure, and heavy metals. It's widely held belief that people with ASD have difficulty eliminating toxic chemicals from their body. If this is the case, exposure to environmental contaminants could play a significant role in poor neurodevelopment or brain function processing. Unfortunately, because of the short amount of time research has been conducted on the link between autism and environmental toxins, causality still remains speculative. However, it continues to be that genetics, environment, and the interaction of a child's physical and psychosocial environment play an integrated related role of the possible causes and triggers of ASD. Such associations can be seen in the high incidence of autism in twins and genetic siblings who have this disorder. Okay, other suspected causes of autism include advanced parental age, low birth weight, and multiple births. A viral infection such as the flu in the first trimester has been shown to triple the odds of a child developing ASD, and a bacterial infection such as a urinary tract infection in the second trimester has been found to increase the risk of ASD by about 40%. Recently, researchers examined inflammatory disease as a possible cause of autism and found that it could possibly contribute to the etiology of the disorder. If you want to know more to what I'm sharing, I'll gladly, research more, and I can give you out this information, basically, of what I'm sharing. Now let's get on to what I want to say here. Problem eating behaviors. As you know, many people may think with us before I begin continue with us when we tend to, you know, not eat certain foods and that we're classified as picky eaters. And 9 times out of 10, we don't like that label. It's not we're picky eaters, we're just maybe hypersensitive or hypersensitive to certain taste, textures and smells and everything else that goes with the food, you know, tasting versus, you know, just the way food looks, feels and stuff for us and the way of it. That's why here, like I said in one of my videos that I have been sharing about the hypersensitive versus hypersensitivity of people with ASD, that, you know, we need to realise that, you know, it's not just an autism, like it's us with autism or Aspergers syndrome, and a way of having these problem eating behaviours. It can happen with people that has ADHD or ADD and the like as well, which I'm going to be bringing more out about ADD, ADHD and all these other conditions that I haven't been focusing. So in all further ado though, just bear in mind what I'm sharing with you all and take it into your own mindset and hopefully accept what I'm sharing based on my everyday opinions as well as my experiences along the way of what I've been through my condition, even though some of you may be able to relate or not, but it's best just to be in each other's shoes as I'm sharing this. So as I said before, the main part that I want to bring out on this, you know, part of Aspergers syndrome and food. Okay, problem eating behaviours. While the medical community may not have actually identified many of the exact causes for this autism spectrum disorder or ASD, much has learned so far about the challenges that us patients with this condition may often face that will lead to poor diet quality in our lives. These may include stuff like, as I said before, sensory processing, certain eating behaviours and feeding disorders. It has been estimated that 46% to 89% of patients with ASD may experience some kind of problem eating. Some feeding difficulties revolve around the changes in maybe routine, he say. For example, patients with ASD may refuse to eat unless they sit in the same place at the table, eat on the same dishes, use the same tablecloth, and eat the same foods daily. The slightest change in routine may cause a tantrum in one of the patients or result in just refusal to eat at all times. Other issues that may occur in this area of problem eating disorder is, as what I said, sensory processing. For example, if the child with ASD are hypersensitive to sounds, they may not want to eat in a noisy area or with others engaging in conversation. If they have visual sensitivities, that makes certain foods with certain colours. They may also not be able to eat the foods that are touching each other on the plate. Another one is some children that are sensitive to the way of foods that feel in the mouth. They may avoid crunchy foods or foods that may have a slick mouth feeling, you know. The way food smells can cause similar reactions, and there are instances in which children may not recognise certain taste but can distinguish it between the others. Okay, a best way for this is basically to solve this, or not solve it, but to treat it or manage it, is what I've read. The best approach to solving this kind of behaviour, according to what I've researched on Elizabeth Strickland, MSRD, author of Eating for Autism, the 10-step nutrition plan to help treat your child's autism, Aspergers or ADHD, is to assemble a feeding team, which is a group of healthcare professionals consisting of a physician, speech language pathologist, occupational therapist, behavioural therapist, and RD. Dietitian can evaluate the foods that the child agrees to eat or potentially dietary deficiency. He or she can watch the child and family during meal times if need be to access their habits that may be hindering the way how they take their food. An RD also can screen the medications the child takes that may have certain side effects that contributes to this feeding problems. Okay, I'll add this and more of those, you know, of what I've researched of the, you know, books versus whatever at the end of this piece. Okay, ASD and food tips. Okay, just as problem eating behaviours can prevent ASD patients from getting the nutrients they need, so can constantly consuming highly refined foods, regardless what it may be. Since highly refined foods may contain artificial dyes, colours, and preservatives that could be associated with this aggravating behavioural symptoms in those with ASD, suggesting families eat natural whole foods may be an important treatment intervention. Decisions working with ASD patients can recommend eliminating the following symptoms from an ASD patient diet if they believe a certain sensitivity exists, be it whatever I shared just currently. Like number 1 is food dyes and artificial colours. These additives may have been linked to hyperactivity, breathing disorders, skin eruptions, and gastrointestinal symptoms in non-ASD patients. Since many ASD patients already have these kind of symptoms already, eliminating foods that contain these symptoms may be helpful to access a patient's reaction. Number 2 is high fructose corn syrup. One of the main concerns with high fructose corn syrup involves the manufacturing process, as we know. Research has found that mercury, one of the environmental toxins that may be responsible for the increased prevalence of ASD, is part of the refining process when making high fructose corn syrup. Removing it from the diet whenever possible may be a helpful suggestion also. Number 3, artificial flavourings. Monosodium glutamate, or MSG, for example, has been shown to cause headaches, muscle tightness, numbness or tingling, weakness and flushing in people who are sensitive to it. Because of these known potential side effects, and may be appropriate for ASD patients to avoid MSG as a precautionary measure, however. Number 4, artificial preservatives. Okay, so as I've indicated that artificial preservatives may cause sensitive individuals to experience headaches, behavioural mood changes, hyperactivity. So again, removing these foods that contain these may be beneficial. Okay, artificial sweetness. Another one for this is, aspartame, acetylcholine, neotin, and saccharin have been known to cause headaches, main changes in vomiting, and diarrhea in the general population. Okay, so some of these is going to give you side effects, just very quickly. Okay, when discussing dietary recommendations, however, for patients with ASD, or their parents or caregivers, however it may be, also suggests that patients should be screened for nutritional deficiencies that can result from the medications they may be taking also. Some medications can affect the appetite and cause nausea, vomiting, constipation, hard stools, diarrhea, or hard stools as in constipation if you want to know, esophageal reflux, weight loss and weight gain, sedation, drooling, maybe sometimes dysphagia, or all of which may compromise this nutritional status for us to complete our nutritional needs. For example, here I would clinically show if a child was constipated, he or she may experience a decrease in appetite. If another one is if dysphagia is an issue and then everyday living, he or she may decrease food intake for fear of choking while swallowing. If medication causes sedation, the child may not feel the need to eat even if he or she may feel hungry. Okay, another thing to look at is supplementation. Okay, another aspect of ASD treatment involves supplementations with multivitamins, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin B and B6, magnesium, and other nutrients. Reason being for this is many people think we should be all doped up having all this sort of stuff, but that's not always the case. Okay, as I said before, with some of us with AS, we're hard thinkers. We use a lot in our brain, solely absorbing in that one interest or what have you. So we need to keep up with our diet. Sometimes some of us that is on that scale of Aspergers syndrome, me included, I'll admit, sometimes we forget to feed ourselves because we're solely absorbed, and that sometimes we need to bear in mind that we need to find other sources that will actually, help us along the way with this kind of energy needs or requirements of different nutrients that plays an important part of our everyday living and healthy eating and the like. Because at the end of the day, we know that, as I may have briefly shared, that if we don't have these components in our diet of what I've just shared just now for those nutrients, we tend to discover that we will need to do this supplementation part of it, taking these supplements that has that important nutrient that plays a vital role in that part of our body. Okay, but beginning multiple supplements at one time may impede the ability to determine what's working or not working in most of us patients. Therefore, the best strategy may be to start one supplement at a time for several weeks to maybe determine whether an improvement in those symptoms have, faded or subsided. If the patient, however, takes one supplement for several weeks and experiences no improvements in the symptoms, it means the supplement might not be helpful for that particular patient. If improvements are saying stopping the supplements for a week or so to determine whether symptoms may return can be a good strategy to gauge effectiveness. This process allows patients with ASD to follow the least restrictive regime as much as possible, while identifying improvements in the symptoms that I have listed that may occur along the way. Okay, and these supplementations that I'm going to bring with you here right now are really important ones that I feel for us people with Aspergers syndrome, autism, basically, maybe a form of ADHD. So bear with me while I'm sharing this, because this is really important to get this out there as I said so many times before, as an awareness, understanding, and knowledge and know-how basis, and that hopefully that maybe, if you're working with people with Aspergers syndrome and all that, that you may be able to know what's good for them and what's not good for them, so to speak, and that hopefully one way or another that, regardless of, what may work for me may not work for others, and vice versa, what work for others may not work for me. But if we can just do a continuum of just reaching out, supporting one another, and actually maybe find other means to meet those needs, regardless what it may be. Here's an example of what I'm sharing of the everyday dietary requirements of what we need for people with Asperger's syndrome, then by all means. But then again, we need to come together in an agreement and whatnot somehow, instead of disagreeing or agreeing. But anyway, let's continue. Sorry for all this blabber, but I just wanted to make it clear with certain parts that I'm sharing. Multivitamins. Most practitioners who has worked with patients with ASD agree that a good quality multivitamin without artificial colours or flavours may help the offset of limited dietary preferences and poor nutritional intake that ASD sufferers usually tend to do to themselves. Well, not to themselves, but just don't mean to do it in a way, but just they tend to maybe forget while this, as I said before, solely absorbing in their one given thing that they love doing. Finding the right multivitamin will depend on their patient's tolerance levels, be it if, like I said before, if they're hypersensitive to certain smells, taste, texture, and the like, versus maybe the fear of swallowing versus whatever it may be, as it just shared briefly. Basically, some may be able to swallow a pill, while others may prefer a liquid gummy kind of chewable form of multivitamins and other dietary supplement needing, depending. Others are in a perfect position to determine what is acceptable and what's not to meet the patient's needs. Another one is, as I said before, is number 2 for this part of the supplementation is omega-3 fatty acids. Research has shown that adding omega-3 fatty acid supplements to ASD patients may provide benefits. Omega-3, as we know, is critical for brain development and proper neural function. Multiple studies have shown imbalances in the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids in the bloodstreams of patients with ASD. So, therefore, obtaining the adequate amounts from food alone may be difficult because of the limited number of foods they may be able to eat due to their food sensitivities, hypersensitivities, and all the like, as I shared before, yet again. So, basically, what may happen here, for example, some children with ASD may not be won't eat cold water fish such as salmon and tuna. Some parents won't add fish to their children's diet because they believe it contains mercury that may exacerbate some of the symptoms of ASD. Still, many parents do give their children omega-3 supplements, however. Some practitioners, however, do recommend a 1.5 gram per day of omega-3 fatty acids for most pediatric patient population. According to research, children with ASD who take omega-3 supplements may have less anxiety and aggression, decreased hypersensitivity and impulsivity, longer attention spans, and improvements in language development, reading, and spelling skills. Most omega-3 supplements are made from fish oil, however, so it's important to ensure that they're free of mercury. The label will indicate mercury-free processing. Because oils can become rancid, it becomes best to use supplements before the expiration date. Some supplements may contain added benefits such as your vitamin E as a preservative to improve the shelf life, while others abound with dietary calcium to preserve the oil at room temperature. Okay, if patients complain of a stomach upset or fishy burps, but don't experience this when they eat fish, question the freshness of their supplements that they're taking. Patients may need to keep the supplements in the refrigerator so they stay fresher longer, maybe. Another one for the supplementation is vitamin D. Several studies suggest a direct link between low vitamin D levels of the risk of ASD, since vitamin D regulates the immune system. As they say, immune system versus everything else that it has been arguments of what causes ASD, which I'll share later on in the piece of these arguments and my uptake on it. Anyway, researchers show that children are at risk of ASD because their body's ability to identify foreign invaders, inanimate toxic substances, and have even a high risk of developing the disorder if they're vitamin D deficient. As we know, basically, or should know by now, that vitamin D's role is in the body is protecting against DNA damage and can help repair damage once it has occurred. Its role is in reducing the damage in case environmental toxins has arisen is being investigated. In addition, vitamin D may reduce oxidative stress, a hallmark of ASD, and lower the number of inflammatory cytokines present on the brain, which have been associated with the disorder. Okay, another one is, according to John J. Cannell, MD, founder of the Executive Director of Vitamin D Council, prevalence of ASD increases in regions of greater cloud cover in rainfall. So shown there are more ASD cases in children born between October and March. Research suggests this may be due to the lack of sunlight exposure also. But then I'll do this argument's sake of the supplementation, or shall we say, not supplementation, but the nutrients that is important in the diet that I shared with maybe later on. But now, vitamins B6 basically, and magnesium. Vitamin B6 and magnesium supplementation are also used in treating ASD patients. One way to boost intake is the form of a multivitamin that contains both at US reference daily intake standards. Okay, again, some of this research is based on the United States, not in the New Zealand realm, because this, as I said, there has not been much clinical study as of yet in New Zealand, which I'm hoping in the near future or in the present day that there will be more research done here in New Zealand based on autism, Aspergers syndrome and the like. But it's clinically known around the world globally of what ASD is, autism and all that, but it's not, like I said before, not much awareness here in New Zealand. So I'm hoping that maybe someday it will happen. One way to boost intake of this form of multivitamin that blah 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 has shown that there's improvements in behaviour such as increased speech, decreased aggression, temper issues, better eye contact, increases in the IQ levels and the ability to interact socially with vitamin B6 and magnesium supplementation. However, they've shown high dose of pyridoxine supplements can cause peripheral or sensory neuropathy, and larger doses can cause gastrointestinal upset and diarrhea. Like another one is in the other supplements, basically glutathione 9, which can be used in ASD treatment, enables the body to detoxify and protect itself against oxidative damage. Moreover, dimethylglycerine is touted to improve language skills and the ability to make eye contact. However, there's little evidence showing this, however, to avoid these symptoms. Okay, another one to remember is maybe the probiotics, antifungals, and digestive enzymes. As we know, probiotics and antifungals may be common treatments for the abdominal pain, bloating, gas, constipation, gastroesophageal reflux disease, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea that many ASD patients may experience. Non-conclusive evidence has been available to explain why these digestive symptoms are common in ASD patients, however, but the use of probiotics has provided relief of these symptoms for many of us. Digestive enzymes are systems that help break down large macromolecules in food to smaller substances to facilitate or help with the absorption. Examples of these digestive enzymes include proteases that break down proteins or lipase that help break down fat. If a dietitian suspects a patient is experiencing inadequate digestion, digestive enzymes may help. In some cases, however, digestive enzymes may aid in the removal of toxic compounds from the gut. Elimination and diet therapy. This has been used not just for ASD patients, but for the likes of people with ADHD and autism. Okay, this can be another form of option that can promise in treating ASD patients and also other patients alike. That involves removing certain foods from the diet for a period of time to determine whether they're causing the symptoms of food allergies and certain intolerancy levels of, their food intake. Research has shown that eliminating gluten and casein from the diet of ASD patients can alleviate the symptoms such as behavioural problems and poor cognitive and social functioning. There are several theories to why the elimination diet may be beneficial. One hypothesis is that ASD patients can't digest gluten and casein, if that's pronounced right, causing the formation of the peptides glutamorphine and sesamorphine, and their absorption into the bloodstream because of increased gut permeability or leaky gut syndrome. These two peptides, which may appear to have a chemical structure similar to opiates, can cross the blood-brain barrier and cause symptoms such as delayed social and language skills, and withdrawing behaviours. There are concerns about the use of gluten-free, casein-free diets, however, because its planning requires a skilled professional who understands the complexities of elimination diets and the restrictions of appropriate foods that is required for us. The exclusion of wheat and milk puts an ASD patient at risk of nutrient deficiencies in calcium, protein, vitamin D, folic acids, and the vitamin B group complexes. And studies have found that diets lacking gluten and casein-free raise the risk of decreased bone density and stomach growth. Okay, A more complex elimination diet than some specifically trained dietitians use is called the LEAP, which is abbreviated into L lifestyle, E eating, A performance LEAP. Alright, this involves eliminating any known foods or chemicals suspected of triggering symptoms that I've shared so many times before. These foods and chemicals are identified by a blood test called the mediator release test, which shows reactions to multiple foods and chemicals. These reactions involve the immune systems of patients who ingest foods and chemicals to which they are sensitive to. The immune system identifies the foods and chemicals as foreign invaders, causing the immune system to release mediators to fight off these invaders. Some of the mediators released include histamine, prostaglandins, leukotrienes, cytokines, and peroxides. These mediators have been shown to cause reactions such as inflammation, diarrhea, pain, intestinal cramping, constipation, headache, and pain response changes. Studies have shown enhanced pro-inflammatory cytokine is present in patients with ASD. Reactions to certain foods and chemicals also can cause the release of the brain neurotransmitters, dopamine and serotonin. Dopamine, as we know, appeals to the sense of reward and enjoyment and plays a role in addictive behavior, whereas the serotonin role of it is it contributes to the feelings of well-being and happiness. When dopamine and serotonin are released as a result for the ASD patients ingesting foods and chemicals to which they are sensitive, they may experience less pain, brain fog, or inability to focus and concentrate. According to the certified LEAP therapist that has done this research, ASD patients also may feel euphoric after ingesting a reactive substance or stop throwing a tantrum after a reactive food. It's in these instances where the mediator release test may help with identifying these reactive substances. They can eliminate certain bits and pieces to improve behavior in the patient, as well as the communication skills and other immune-related health issues that allow for more variety for better nutrition. Okay, to end this, the question maybe is what will lie ahead for us with ASD in the way of, you know, our dietary versus food stuff is. So what does the future hold for people with ASD or Aspergers syndrome and all that? Well, there's no concrete answer to this, however, question. We know that RDs can play a huge role in the management and treatment of the symptoms with patients that has ASD. RD's ability to analyse diets for nutritional deficiencies can help concerned parents. Contacts with other healthcare disciplines that monitor patients' behaviours make RDs invaluable as they provide holistic approaches to treatment. However, for optimal cognitive and social functioning, RDs are the best source for providing accurate and up-to-date information on supplementation and elimination diet therapy. That current research on new nutritional approaches today, which is still being researched, as said. More and more patients will, however, depend on dietitians as a source of information that will enable the patients to live productive lives like anyone else. Dietitians with the passion to work with these challenging segment of the population will be much needed resource in the dietetics community in the many years to come. That's about to happen. Well, that basically ends the part about Aspergers syndrome and food. Give me the like for thumbs up for support and engagement. Hopefully you've learned something today, basically, guys, and what I've shared with you all based on what I felt in my heart to share right now based on this topic. Feel free to, share the videos around for educational purposes and whatever other purposes it may be. Feel free also to subscribe if you haven't done so for daily weekly vlogs. I can't always, like I said, promise about this, but I'll see if I can strictly keep to that schedule. If not, keep an eye out for me anyway. So I'm sure that regardless of these videos that I'm sharing will be of value to any of you. So, and on further ado, guys, basically, do what you love what you do, and also don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, because I usually post up there on Facebook based on my everyday, on my everyday encounterships versus the videos that may be up there for the ones that doesn't have a YouTube channel. So like I said, do what you love what you do. Have a great day. Be true to yourself and all that jazz. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. I'll see you all again.